Welcome to another installment of the Final Scoop podcast. My name is Robert Schinetsky, supplement engineer. Joining me as always is my international band of brothers, Lukasz, troublemaker Rytkowski, Prometeus, intelligent sports technology, Robert, the Russian smasher Samborsky, Apollon nutrition. Lord Shaun has yet to descend from Mount Doom, so we will eagerly anticipate his arrival as soon as he can join us. Thank you all for joining us. Happy New Year. If you didn't see us on last week's episode, post up any comments, questions, queries, quips, smart-ass remarks you might have for our panel of game-changing industry influencers and Titan thought leaders. Yeah, guys, another week. We're here. How's life?
Good. How is everyone?
Everything is awesome. And before we start our banters and everything, I just want to say that we had an amazing podcast on Wednesday with an amazing guest and an amazing person that I really respect and truly admire, and I also love, no homo, which was Eric Schwartz from the Paw Power. So this guy is just an amazing guy, and I just want to say that we did a fantastic podcast. So if you guys missed this show, do us a favor and go check out the podcast. It's already on all the listening platforms, including iTunes and so on. And make sure to, hit the subscribe button once again, just to make sure that algorithm loves us and so on. And, give some love to Eric, even if you don't have any dog or hate animals. Make sure just hit the like button on his site. So yeah.
Well, as far as I know, that peanut butter is okay to eat for humans too. So, if you don't have a dog, buy it for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's quality, all natural peanut butter and all of that stuff. So, I mean, it's just what he just said, roasted peanuts, and that's it. There's not even extra salt added to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, it's going for the right cause because he's supporting, the rescue for the others. Yeah, exactly. So, hell yeah to that.
There we go. Grandpa Shaun is in first today.
Grandpa,
Lukasz, the sexiest podcaster of 2021. Robbie, a distant 50th.
You know what?
Me and Shane fall somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give it no problem. You gotta give some love to your elderly.
There you go. Simon says, smiley face. All right, man. No, I also want to say a huge shout out, thank you to Gerhard at New Live for sending me this giant case of Actogen shots. The taste takes a lot of getting used to because that's just arrived on my doorstep right before the podcast, and he said I was going to be sending it. So it's the taste is not good at all but it's a liquid. It's a triple berry blend flavor. The flavor's not good, but hey, it's free and it's 200 milligrams of Actogen per shot, so I'm okay with that.
Bro, it's in the shot form, so
yeah, you just down it and get over with.
Smash it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As DJ said, who gives a fuck about the flavor, right?
Agreed. Sridhar, I heard Lukasz is getting Batman of Supplement Industry Awards. I agree.
God damn, what's going on today? First, I'm the sexiest podcaster. Now I'm a Batman.
I know, man.
Are we doing some Polish giveaways or something like that today?
Yeah,
Like,
what the hell is going on here?
Whoa!
Did you guys get paid by Fitness Inform on the Price Club, maybe, or something?
Yeah, this is just not my week. I mean, I get shit.
It happened. Bring Carolina back on, and then you'll get all the love, Robbie. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Now you make me sound like I'm getting an award, Pimp of the Year.
Well, hey, we each have our strengths. You just got to know how to use them properly.
Yeah. Like I'm questioning my abilities, my manhood, my sexiness, everything. I mean, everything went to shit. I lost to Lukasz. I lost to you. Damn, I lost to Carolina. Well, but that's a given.
Well, you beat Shane because he's not here, so that's something. I mean, that's something.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that. Like I can always claim that I beat the Lord.
You did. You superseded
Lord will be here soon. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Just need to take care of Ava.
I just saw this pop across the Stack 3D newsfeed. I wanted to get you guys' opinions on it because I've seen a couple of companies. Avi came out with a multivitamin powder, and Core Nutritionals now, Doug Miller and company, is coming out with a kids multi gummy. First off, do you think? And so most kids at least here stateside, everybody grows up chewing the Flintstone vitamins. That's just it's almost an American institution at this point. I ate them all growing up, and I mean I'm sure kids still do it to this day. Do you think sports nutrition companies can make a significant dent in kids' vitamins, or because I'm sure Goalie or Golly, however the hell you say that gummy brand's name, and all of those other companies are going to start trying to get their way into that. But do you think the sports nutrition companies specifically can make a decent move with these kids products? And then what are your thoughts on this compared to just other kids vitamins options that are out there already?
I'll say from my perspective, but I'm sure Lukasz can add more and probably will give a better answer than I will. From my perspective, when I entered the industry, obviously I didn't know much. I mean, all I knew is like what pre-workout gives a kick, protein powder, creatine, basics, and, selfishly what I need, what athletes need, that was my thing. So when I entered and I saw what a mess this industry is, from my perspective was like, let's release the most badass, the most loaded, properly dosed, blah, 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 blah. And I'll admit I was wrong. And I was wrong for a few reasons. Reason number one, the market is subdivided, just like a car market is subdivided, movie industry, that's subdivided too. We all have different needs, different tastes, different budgets. Medical conditions, and not everybody is a badass hardcore Apollon type of athlete, and I think that one area that I kind of neglected completely was kids. I mean, there is nothing wrong. I mean, kids do take vitamins, kids do get sick, obviously, and kids also could benefit, especially American kids, in my opinion, because it's a mess what's going on in this country when it comes to eating habits and fast food. So the kids could benefit from supplementing too. I don't think there is anything wrong. In fact, it's very, very beneficial. Apollon Nutrition doesn't cater to them. We have a different market and different niche. But, maybe in the future we'll see, because we did expand a little bit this year. But I think, when I saw something like you just mentioned, Obvi, right, for example, when they came on the scene, I was like, what the fuck is this? But then when I looked into it, there is nothing wrong with it. I mean, they cater to a specific market. I think that there's also a niche, kind of like different from Apollon, of course. But I think multivitamins for kids and supplements for kids, protein for kids, that's a whole other avenue that definitely deserves attention. So from my perspective, it's a 2 thumbs up, without a doubt. I do respect Core as a company. I have nothing bad to say about Core. I've met the guys from Core, obviously, thanks to Lukasz, who made the introduction. And I don't know the product in terms of like the supplement facts and the dosages or anything like that. I never looked into it. But I think the area itself, the vitamins for kids, etc., I think it's a great idea, and it has its place, obviously, in the industry. So, thumbs up for them, and if the product meets all the necessary components such as dosages and ingredients, etc., then even better. I know that I talked to Marina about it, and she runs a pharmacy, and she said that gummies, within the pharmacy industry, that's mostly catered to kids. That's the market mostly. Probably because Lukasz is dealing with so many different brands, and obviously, Prometeus, and he probably knows whether there is demand or not. I'm pretty sure that maybe C4 is doing a little bit better, but maybe Lukasz can surprise us.
You know what? When it comes to like gummies, it's I would say a new market. But at the same time, as you said, it's a definitely like an old school thing in US.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like 2 weeks ago, you had an expert. I don't remember which brand was he representing. The manufacturer of the gummies.
Yeah, SMP Nutra was the guys.
Yeah, so if you guys skip this podcast, you can definitely check it out on Robert's YouTube channel, the Supplement Engineer. So he described like how the gummies are manufactured and so on. So that was a really interesting stuff. I really learned a lot about that. So definitely go and check this podcast. But as far as like the whole thing with the gummies, I think it's a really cool idea and it's really appealing, especially for the uh, you know the children, because if they would have to take, for example, tablets or capsules, I don't think that will be a super appealing for them, and they will be keen to down like 5 or 6 tabs or something like that.
Yeah.
But as far as like gummies and so on, I think it's also fun. It's tasty, which is probably really important in this space. So big shout out to Core for doing it. I think the Doc is doing something special with his products and entering new markets. And what he's doing and Meaty is what I really like to see. I'm sure that that the multivitamin won't be super loaded, but at the same time, it's still gonna have some good ingredients in good dosages, and probably they will use some high quality vitamins and minerals.
Yeah. I hope the core nutritionals, and I'm sure it is because Doug and those guys know the right stuff to use, just because this kid's vitamin from SMP is not very good, in my opinion. I mean, you've got all of the cheap or non-bioavailable forms or very low bioavailable forms of the vitamins and minerals in here. You got D2 instead of D3, cyanocobalamin instead of methylcobalamin. There's no magnesium in here, and magnesium is one of the most common nutrient deficiencies in the population. Yeah, that's kind of disappointing with theirs. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, so like, let's check out Core's multi.
Sweet deals.
Okay, let's just lower it that way. Okay, so yeah, I mean, assuming they do something along these similar and they just scale back all the dosages to make it, kid size,
Yeah.
we're going to be in much better shape. So, I mean, we got, I hate all of these goddamn pop-ups. People wonder why I block pop-ups. They're fucking annoying. All right, there we go. All right, so we got methylcobalamin. P5P would be nice. Pyridoxine, hydrochlorides, decent. D3, good there. Manganese, they got magnesium, the good quality form of magnesium at that. And then you got some of the fun little additions there. Spectra, boron, choline, and berberine hydrochloride.
I'm sure they won't use.
That must be for digestion.
They won't use like boron or berberine, or choline. I don't think they will. That's
Right.
not necessary. But at the same time, if they will like put a big emphasis on the on the vitamins and minerals and halates forms and so on, I think that will be a super efficient
I would like to see them put choline in there just because it's got such an important function in the growth and development of the nervous system and the brain and everything. So if they put in something similar to this, 50 or 100 milligrams of choline, that would be good, I think, in some way. Just because you don't know if kids are actually going to be eating enough beef liver and eggs and all that stuff. I mean, mine does, but she doesn't eat liver, but she eats tons of eggs.
I definitely would love to see like a good quality of vitamin D, magnesium, and B12.
Yeah.
These three are like really important.
Agreed. Devin, Lord Shane must be busy with his royal duties. Yes, he is in charge of the princess at the moment, and he will eventually get back on very soon. Jojo, what's up, Jojo? Thoughts on pH water? It's bullshit. That's a thought. As an Amazon driver, I've been delivering a lot of it lately and haven't really been bougie on water. I still drink tap. I think as long as you're getting any kind of tap water or, filtered water, that's fine. But if you start going for like these alkalizing waters or these pH charged water, water is is neutral, pH neutral by definition. I mean, like it's a pH of 7. It's neutral.
Invest in good electrolyte type of a supplement, add it to your water, and voila, you got an amazing hydration.
Yeah, it's a scam. Just avoid it. All right. Devin, how many grams of sodium do each of you think you intake each day? A fair amount. I will say that. A fair amount.
It's really hard to say, Devin, because I'm taking a lot of sodium. I'm not like tracking it because I'm training. Plus, I'm moving a lot. Each day, I'm doing like around 40 to 50,000 steps per day, which is a lot. I'm walking everywhere, so yeah, I need that sodium. Plus, when I'm like, for example, eating my meats, I always like salt hard. So I never back down on that. But I don't. The thing with me is that I don't eat processed foods. So basically, I eat really clean. I eat a lot of whole foods, all meats and so on. Lord Shane is here.
I am here.
Sound the trumpets. Alert the bellmaster in the tower.
What's up, bro?
Lord Shane has made his grand entrance. You're muted, buddy.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Yeah, I'm the same as Lukasz. I don't really track sodium intake. I mean, typically, I'm actually very not picky, but very diverse when it comes to salt. Like, for example, if I cook something like eggs, like I don't know, like omelet or something like that, I don't use salt at all. Like, I mean, typically my omelet is with something like avocado, cheese. So whatever sodium they contain, that's pretty much what I take. I don't put extra salt. But, if I prepare something like steak or any meat or anything, so typically like salt and pepper. But yeah, and obviously I don't measure or anything like that. It's just like as much as I like, that's how much I use. So honestly, if somebody asks me a question, how much I'm using on a daily basis average, I have absolutely no clue.
Shane, do you have any idea how much sodium you take in on a day?
Nah, but when I have my chicken, my wife always tells me that would you like some chicken with that salt? So apparently I have a lot, but I only probably have 2 of those meals a day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just add as much salt until it's tasty. So
yeah, I've never tracked it. I would say if I had to guess, it's probably close to 3,000 milligrams a day.
Robert, now, I mean, there are a lot of questions, when it comes to sodium. I know, people do talk, about the benefits and how bad it is for you, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not going to go to that route, but I actually want your opinion on something else. Without tracking how much sodium you're taking daily or whatever, is it something physically, either appearance-wise or how you feel or whatever, where you would be like, maybe I'm taking a little bit too much salt and I need to back the fuck off? Like either a physical appearance, or, health concerns without doing any blood work. Basically an overall feeling or a medical kind of internal condition or physical appearance.
Yeah. I mean, I guess something like if you look really puffy and bloated and swollen, maybe you're taking too much sodium, but at the same time, maybe you're just not taking in enough other electrolytes to balance that out or enough water to balance out that sodium. So like my dad.
Would you say that that's probably extreme cases of extreme amounts of sodium?
Yeah, it could be. I would say you're probably overdoing it or underdoing physical activity, just you being too sedentary. So overconsumption of that coupled with sedentary nature and lack of proper fluids. Okay. I think that, but like my dad has been a type 2 diabetic for over 20 years. He's got reduced kidney function, and he's down to 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day or less. So I think he sticks around 1,200. And they found out he was eating up around 2,000 before that, and his blood sugar numbers were still all wacky. They scaled down his sodium intake to less than 1,200, and that got his HbA1c and all the other stuff in line better. But I mean, he doesn't have high blood pressure, or he didn't. So sodium wasn't affecting that. Me and my brother and sister were all very highly active. We've never considered not salting our food or anything like that. So I'm not worried about it. My blood pressure is fine. If you're somebody that's concerned about it, check your blood pressure first and then maybe go to blood work, but you can just do blood pressure. And if some people are super sodium sensitive, some aren't, as far as its impact on sodium being the root cause of cardiovascular issues and blood pressure, the evidence is pretty mixed on that. There was an article I wrote a couple years back where a new meta-analysis had come out showing that individuals with the lowest sodium intake actually had higher blood pressure levels than individuals who were consuming around 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams. Now, once you get over 5,000 or 10,000 milligrams of sodium per day and you're not an extreme endurance athlete, then yeah, that definitely has deleterious effects on blood pressure and whatnot. But for the average individual, according to that meta-analysis, if you were, the higher sodium intakes were actually correlated with better blood pressure levels than ultra low reduced sodium diets and things like that. So there's definitely a genetic and individual differences at play, but not always. Yeah, like sodium is not just the bad guy. Kind of like everybody says, well, sugar is the one thing making everybody else fat. No, it's a combination of sugar, fat, salt, consuming over too many calories overall, and a lack of an activity.
Some people are just naturally salty.
Right. Yeah. And like my daughter, like I don't know, is Ava like this, Shane? Like she'll just go up to like the salt bowl that we have, and she just throws it in her mouth and eats it. And so like mine will soak salt in water and drink it just fine. I think it's the weirdest thing.
She does like if you give her like chips with sauce, like ketchup or aioli,
yeah,
she will just dip the chip in and suck the aioli off, and then kind of use the chip as like a spoon. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? She's just like, I like sauce. And I'm like, yeah, I gather that, but it's not this. That's the dish, not that. That's meant to accompany it.
Correct, yeah.
But I have her this morning, because Nikki's away. That's why I woke up and she was in my fucking bed. I don't remember when this happened. She was lying on... Yeah.
She's a ninja. Jiffy Jank with the eyeballs peeping in. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, Alex. How are things up in Canada? In my perspective, it's up to the consumer, and they should not make it so taboo. I wonder if that's in reference to...
I thought it was more of like the salt thing was kind of like bodybuilders really, really watch it come contest time and stuff. But I don't know. I don't think I've ever met anyone who was like, oh, I have to watch my sodium intake. Who was like, I guess a regular exerciser and everything. I don't know. I hear people asking more about it than I actually know of people who actually do it.
Yeah.
Or worry about it.
The Lord... Shane, you were late. Sridhar actually did his ass kissing for the day to Lukasz instead of you. So you missed out on the compliments and the niceties from Sridhar today. Went straight to Lukasz.
Someone actually asked me the other day, they said, I've been looking everywhere for Lukasz on Instagram. And I was like, oh man, he's like, I don't want to go on Facebook. Is Instagram the only... does he not have one? I was like, no, he does not. I'll tell him.
I don't live. I don't have a life.
I think he was asking about fuck, I can't remember now. It was 2 weeks ago. It was about a specific supplement. I was able to answer his question. He was asking about an ingredient you liked, and I think he was looking for a product near him or something. But yeah, I helped him out.
Bro, we almost agree with everything, right?
It says, "Hail the Lord."
So you can answer.
Lords, if you want, we could all just go buy
those little patches of land.
Yeah.
Shane must have more sodium since he's doing keto.
Is sodium like a part of keto?
People like, since you're losing glycogen, you're losing a lot of electrolytes with that when you ditch the carbs and everything. So they tell you to up your electrolyte intake.
Especially when you are ditching stuff. Especially when you are ditching the carbs, you're like losing a lot of electrolyte. That's why you get.
I thought keto was like sub 30 or 50 or something a day, right?
It's going to depend on your physical activity level, body mass, and all that. But yeah, typically less than 50 net carbs a day.
I don't think I think I just do low. I don't think I do. I don't, because I know they also like say you have too much protein. It's got to be like something stupid or ridiculous that I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And then the fat has to be insanely high.
Yeah, it's usually like 70% fat, or clinical keto. I think it's 70 fat, 20 protein, and then 5 to 10 carbs.
But that's also
that's
bullshit when you're saying that, you know, too much protein gonna kick you out of ketosis.
Yeah,
Right.
That's bullshit.
Agreed.
I'm doing Rich Piana's keto.
Hell yeah.
I feel like he was literally the one that transformed it from I want the low carb option to just the keto option.
Yeah, bro.
People must have hate the shit out of him because anytime anything was low carb, he was like, yeah, keto option. Not really, but okay.
Ben and Jerry's every fucking evening.
Yeah. And he would just coin the like he just ketoed things. I don't know if that was a thing before him, but he really pushed it.
Yeah. Jojo, the taboo comment was in reference to sports nutrition companies making kid-directed products. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, Shane, we were discussing before you hopped on the core Crush It Kids multi-gummies that are coming out. And the question was that I pitched to Robbie and Lukasz. Do you think that could make a significant dent in maybe kids' multivitamins, or is it mostly probably going to be people that are already buying stuff from Core?
Yeah.
They're just going to like, hey, I'm a fit guy. I'm going to make my kid fit and give them gummy. Instead of go and grab like the Flintstone multis out of the pharmacy.
Precisely. I mean, how is... I mean, I don't suspect this is going to wind up in Walmart's kids' vitamin aisle.
Yeah.
It's likely to be at like a retailer, like some specialist supplement retailer. So the only way you're going to see it is if your parents see it. It's not like you're going to walk in and like a kid's going to go into a GNC or whatever and see, oh, I like this one. Yeah. You have to be looking for it rather than stumbling across it. I'll buy it.
Yeah. I'm taking whole salt mine on keto. Shane hit it on the head. Robbie is always salty.
Wow, he just doesn't stop today, and yet I don't retaliate.
Shane's renegotiating his McDonald's contract for the year, Devin. That's why he was late. All right, last.
Is, like, so many people support them and say they love their food, and
yeah. If you need salt, go hit up a McDonald's, man. All of their food is salty. Very cold and back in lockdown, plus curfew. I feel sorry for the Canadians, or at least in your region of Canada.
Yeah, man, I heard they locking back up.
It's fucked up. Sridhar, when I did keto, 30 grams total carbs without magnesium, potassium, and sodium. I'd get kilograms. Yeah, you need lots of magnesium, potassium, and sodium, dude. Isn't gluconeogenesis a thing, though, Lukasz? It is, but go ahead, Lukasz, and then I can say whatever since it was directed at you first. Go ahead.
Yeah, go first.
Go ahead.
You were already talking, so.
Yeah, I mean it's a word that's like 15, 20 letters.
Yeah,
that's your ballpark.
Yeah, hell yeah. Amen to that.
Gluconeogenesis is a thing, Sridhar, and like you talk to like the super keto zealots, or the people that don't actually understand human physiology, but they just jumped on the bandwagon. They make it to be like this huge boogeyman. But you know what? Even if you're a person that primarily runs on carbohydrates, your body is still oxidizing some fat in the background and generating very low levels of ketones. Same thing is flipping around. So if you're in keto, your body will produce a little bit of glucose that's necessary. So if you ingest some protein, some of the amino acids in protein are gluconeogenic and some of them are ketogenic, which means they can be used to generate ketone bodies. Some of them will be converted into glucose. There's things like leucine is a gluconeogenic amino acid. So is glutamine and a couple of other ones. So yeah, it's the thing is how much is it doing? So if we look at carbs, carbs are going to have a very pronounced effect on raising insulin levels and raising glucose levels in the blood. Protein, like a whey protein shake, it'll spike insulin real quick, and then you'll get down to baseline pretty quick. It's not going to be this long, prolonged elevation in insulin levels that are going on. So, and that's another thing I think the keto community really, or at least the people that don't kind of understand how it works, you don't need to be in ketosis 24 hours a day to be keto. Like having a little period where you come up for like an hour after you eat and you piss on the little keto strips, you take your finger prick test or whatever you want to do. It says you're not keto, but give your body time to digest all the food and you'll be back in keto in a little while, provided you're not ingesting, 50 or 100 grams of carbs outside of your workout window or something like that. But it's, you it's not a 24-hour. I'm always in keto, or I'm failing at life if I'm not keto all the time, kind of thing. So
it's also funny when the keto zealots are like pricking their fingers like 24/7, and they're like, "Oh, this is how much ketones I have in my body, so I'm in deep ketosis or something." But at the same time, if your ketones are on a high level like all the time, it means that you're not utilizing your ketones at all, which is also not good. So you need to keep that in mind. And as far as like the protein, as Robert said, it all comes down to consumption. But I wouldn't be like, super strict about that. Especially when you're like on a ketosis, you don't have to like consume a lot of fat. Just remember that on your body, you got plenty of fat. So you can utilize it. But as far as like going on the keto, just like even if you're, for example, fast for like 16 hours, you're gonna be in a ketosis. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I think like I mean like Shane said, the 70% fat, he doesn't do it. I don't even I'm not even comfortable saying that I'm following a keto diet when I diet. I mean, to get in shape, because I think that just giving it a name, I always feel like it's mostly like marketing thing. Because if you take, for example, okay, let's say keto, right? And let's go, we often talk about science and stuff. If you go right now and you Google keto diet, you're going to see a lot of positive feedback, but you will see shitload of negativity too. And both the positive and the negative is going to come from actually not just, like people that discuss vaccines and shit like that with everybody having an opinion. But I mean, those are actually from real doctors, that do some kind of, I don't know, studies, and, they obviously got the diplomas and shit like that. So they experts on the field, yet two experts are going to have completely different opinion when it comes to keto diet. And it's not just keto, it's actually any diet. Any diet you find, high carb, low carb, no carb, you will have people that are supporting it 100%. And again, I mean scientists. And you're going to have people that are dead against it and criticize it and, in fact, find it harmful. So, for me, by nature, I'm actually a very lazy person that prefers comfort. So I am not comfortable counting calories. I'm not comfortable counting my fats. I'm not counting my protein intake. Just I don't think it's necessary. I know my body more or less. I know how my body responds. I'm definitely not going to target 70% fat intake daily, because I just think, I mean, again, no disrespect to anyone who does it. From my personal perspective, I think it's dumb. I mean, that's just the way I see it. I think it's stupid. But if it works for you, it's something that you like, something that works for you, go ahead and fucking do it. That's no problem. But when people ask me, what kind of a diet you follow, I notice that I am somewhat of a carb-sensitive person. So, yeah, very low to no carb diet definitely works for me 100%. No, I primarily do not do egg whites. I do whole eggs. Yes, I do include red meat in my diet. I love red meat. I don't think that it's like as bad for cholesterol as they make it out to be. And again, it's not based. I'm not a scientist. I don't even know if I'm right. I mean it based on my blood work. And when my cholesterol, like I said a few shows ago, when my cholesterol was high, I firmly believe that it's due to my genetics. And when I started just taking better care of myself in terms of exercise, cardio, and taking certain supplements that I didn't even know if they work, but Robert confirmed that they do actually work, and I saw my cholesterol fucking drop, the first thing that my doctor asked was like, oh, shit, did you eliminate red meat from your diet? Nope. Did you eliminate bacon from your diet? Nope. Did you switch whole eggs to egg whites? No, none of that. I think you should do and follow a diet that specifically works for your body, because we are so fucking different. Age, race, weight, genetics, medical conditions. I mean, fuck, whatever works for you. I've seen people that can fucking diet on 500 grams of carbs a day, absolutely no problem. No problem, and they will get in shape. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people, so I have to do whatever works for me. Like, I noticed that either carb cycling, that works for me, but still on a lower side. Like, I will go but what people call a high carb day. For me, a high carb day on a carb cycling, because I only count carbs because it's easy. My high carb day is going to be something like at the most 100 grams a day. Then I'm going to go on a low carb, which for somebody it's nothing, and it's 50 grams. And then maybe I'll do 2 days on absolutely no carbs whatsoever. That shit works for me. Would I advise it for anyone else to try? No, because I don't know your body. I don't know how you react. I might give you advice that works for me, but it's going to backfire when it comes to you. So I prefer to shut the fuck up and just, if I talk about my diet, I'm going to emphasize and say, that shit works for me. That's how my body reacts. Should you do it? I don't give a shit what you do. Do whatever works for you. Either take somebody's advice. Maybe even mine is not going to be advice. Mine is going to be just sharing what works for me. That's it. Or experiment with your body and see through different, trials and errors what works for you. Find what works for you and just follow that. But to call it keto and fucking, there's so many names for them, carnivore diet, and if it works for you, by all means, do whatever the fuck you want.
Shaun, honest question for Robbie. I believe you said you use fish oil. Have you compared the differences between things like fish, salmon, krill, etc., or are they all pretty much the same?
The last part I'm going to leave up to our technical advisor, and that's going to be Robert. He can probably give you a better answer when it comes to salmon, krill, and etc. I'm just not an expert in a field. What I do know, and I stated it like a while ago, that one of my closest friends, Alina, she works in a industry, in a pharmaceutical industry, and she was the one who pointed me to Vasipa, which is prescription, and she showed me studies that pretty much, I'm going to go and say all fish oil on the market just don't deliver what the prescription Vasipa does. And Vasipa, in fact, indeed, is the only, and I mean the only fish oil on the market that does have science backing up its claims, that it does reduce the risk of heart disease. And it's actually proven, and that's, it's the real deal. And I know that I've been on Vasipa for the past 2 years, and my triglycerides have never looked better, so it's a proven. I do know, for example, but I'm not going to recommend that. I'll leave it again up to Robert, that Nordic and one of those companies that, have a supposedly better quality fish oil does deliver to an extent, and they have some sort of benefits, but most fish oils on the market are just completely crap. Robert, you can take it over.
Yeah. Lukasz, you got anything to add?
I remember few podcasts about fish oil and so on, and I remember there was the fridge test. When you put the fish oil into the fridge, and if it's cloudy or something, that it means that your fish oil is basically unusable. And most of the fish oil that is on the market is, as Robbie said, a piece of shit. So I wouldn't invest in it. I'm a big fan and I'm a big fish eater, so I don't have any issues with omega 3s. I basically try to utilize the SMASH protocol, which is adding in my diet salmon, herring, anchovies, halibut, those kinds of things. I really like fish, so I'm not going out for the sushi, but most of the time I'm grilling all my fish or eating smoked fish, because here in Poland we have plenty of them, and they are widely available. So I try to incorporate them every week. So basically that's my whole standpoint on as far as supplements. If you don't like fish, then you can definitely add them, but I would go with reliable brands. I know that Now Foods has some pretty good fish oil, which I would recommend. And as far as the brands that are coming to my mind right now, but as far as others, I would have to think more.
Yeah, Lukasz is right. I mean, I kind of forgot to mention, but of course, eating fish, salmon, sardines, halibut, fatty fish. I mean, obviously, and it's probably the way to go and the most beneficial in a way. But before you take over, Robert, I think actually, you know what? I will talk to Alina since she is in that industry. Maybe she can come and join us even maybe for a little bit and can talk about it, because the information that she has shown me, I think it was fucking remarkable. Like, completely opened my eyes, and I felt even like kind of cheated, because I have been using fish oil that I used to buy, over the counter and stuff like that for years. And then when she showed me that, I was like, oh shit, you know what? I didn't know. So I will definitely talk to her. I think it would be very interesting if she can join us even for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. As far as differences between, so like both fish oil and krill oil are really good sources of EPA and DHA. That's the whole purpose of taking fish oil, eating salmon and stuff like that. Aside from the good protein you get from eating whole, salmon fillets or fatty fish, which you're really going after is the omega-3. So both krill oil and fish oil give you good sources of EPA and DHA, provided that your fish oil is from a good source or you're eating like wild Alaskan salmon or any of the other sources Robbie and Lukasz were talking about. There is a slight difference. So fish oil comes from fish. Krill oil comes from these little tiny crustaceans called krill. There is one small study, it's like 15 or 20 people, that showed that krill oil was slightly more bioavailable than fish oil was. But I mean, we're like nitpicking at this point. So make sure you get a quality source. Plus, krill oil has a few extra antioxidants in it, like astaxanthin. So that's why krill oil kind of looks like a reddish color, while fish oil typically looks yellowish or, bright yellow. So you've got that other astaxanthin, which is a fun other little, carotenoid pigment that can have some other benefits as far as like eye health, skin health, hair, all that other good shit. But yeah, both of them are good. I use Nordic Naturals fish oil because I like salmon. I just don't cook it for myself all that much. That's all. But I use Nordic Naturals. I take 3 grams of that a day. If you're looking for a plant-based source of omega-3s, most of them have pretty poor bioavailability. But one that has shown some decent bioavailability comparable to fish oil is something called ahi flour, AHIFLOWER. And it's got omega-3, 6, and 9 in it, and it's got a unique kind of omega fatty acid in it called GLA. So you can look into that, and that's kind of a cool thing to check out if you're looking to just, you don't want to, if you're going like the vegan route or sustainable route or something. You can
I believe Prometeus oil contains GLA as well, right?
Which one?
Prometeus oil.
Yeah, I think so. And so yeah, Lukasz mentioned Now Food Supplements is a good one. Nordic Naturals is a great one. Like, I'm sure the fish oils you're getting from Core is going to be a quality. Like any reputable supplement company, they're going to package the omega-3 fatty acids in there with some kind of antioxidants. Either it's going to be mixed tocopherols or like vitamin E or vitamin C to help combat the oxidation in there. Just if you're going to get your fish oil, make sure it's from a reputable source, not like the BOGO shit that you would find at Walmart, Costco, all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, avoid that.
Paid a bit more for the quality over quantity.
Yes. Jojo, carbs are life. Good vibes. Sweetheart, I know what you mean, Robbie. I remember getting an LDL particle size test as I got concerned after reading all those internet articles about the fear-mongering around keto and stuff like that. Alex, curious to know if anyone has experimented with AlphaSize. Multiple times, yes. It was brought to my attention not too long ago. I never really looked into it until now. Is it worth the investment? Robbie, Lukasz, Shane, anybody want to take the lead?
Bro, you are an expert. Go for it.
Well, I've just finished riffing. I didn't want to bore
the only thing I can say is, I don't know if Robert remembers this, but going back maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3, I don't know, we were working on a formula for... Robert, I think it was Hooligan 5 or something like that. I was picking your brain. Definitely not the last one. I think the one before. And, obviously because the fucking formula is so loaded and we like alpha GPC, I mean, Robert has a slight preference for CDP choline, but nevertheless, he does always speak highly of alpha GPC, so it's not like he doesn't like it. And we were talking about it, and I actually put in a formula AlphaSize. And when I presented Robert, with the full formula, I asked him, I said, like, I don't want to remove anything from the formula because I really like it and I just don't want to do any shortcuts. And apart from AlphaSize, there was another product, which doesn't really matter, but they were branded. I mean, like trademark ingredients, and AlphaSize was one of them. And I clearly remember that. Robert, and I said to him, my only concern is obviously the cost. The cost was pretty high, and when I told Robert, he also goes to me like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" Nevertheless, I was very stubborn because I did not want to remove anything from the formula. I really, really liked it, and obviously it's a popular product. And I remember Robert goes to me, he says, "Throw away AlphaSize." I'm like, and I remember it was a misunderstanding, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I mean, I said I'm not going to throw anything out. And he goes to me, no. He says, contact your manufacturer and ask what is the difference in price between AlphaSize and Alpha GPC. That I remember, and I got in touch, and the cost difference was it was there. It wasn't crazy, but it was substantial enough. And I told Robert at the time what the price difference was, and he goes to me, use generic Alpha GPC. I was like, is it the same? He goes to me, same shit, and I remember we used that. So I don't know like any problems with AlphaSize per se, but that just came up. That's the only experience that I had with it. And ever since then, based on Robert's recommendation, we used Alpha GPC generic. Never had any issues. Happy with it, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, AlphaSize is just a highly bioavailable form of choline supplement. So AlphaSize is the branded version of Alpha GPC. Marketed or sold or provided by ChemiNutra. The benefit of going with the branded form is that you can use all the claims because they're the ones that have done the majority of the research. They also say that theirs is super clean, super pure, doesn't contain any of the impurities or fillers that you can potentially get with a generic brand of Alpha GPC. Now, the way around that is you make sure your manufacturer's testing the shit when they're getting it in from China, India, or wherever they're getting it. And as long as they're running those quality tests on it, you don't really need to worry about it. So in my opinion, AlphaSize versus regular Alpha GPC, they're both 50% yields of Alpha GPC. So if you see 600 milligrams on the tub, you're getting 300 milligrams of active Alpha GPC because the rest is a binding agent to help it anti-caking agent because Alpha GPC is very, very sticky and it will clump together like a motherfucker. It's great for supporting acetylcholine levels, enhancing focus, memory, learning. There's two very, very small studies showing improvements in, I think, reactive jump force and one other, I think it's reactive vertical force, so it's like a counter jump movement. And I think a lower body exercise, one other lower body exercise, and they were using, I think, 600 milligrams, but it's anywhere between 300 to 1200 milligrams are the study dosages in Alpha GPC. Good for focus, good for memory learning. You can take it every day. If you want to, if you're not getting enough choline through eggs, beef liver, things like that. I personally like CDP choline a little bit more just because CDP choline is kind of a 2-in-1 nootropic. That CDP, that cytidine, converts to uridine in the brain, which has several beneficial effects on dopamine and dopamine receptors in the brain. And then plus you're getting the choline. And there's some research showing that CDP choline increases ATP synthesis in the brain about 18 to 20%. They haven't done those exact studies on Alpha GPC. I'm inclined to believe that you would have, if you compared Alpha GPC versus CDP choline, you're going to have a lot of the same effects. But because there's not that cytidine component on Alpha GPC, that's where I think you might be getting a little bit more of that, that neurostim kind of feeling, that awakening of the senses that I like. And it hits a little bit harder and faster for me, where Alpha GPC is a little bit slower to kind of come on and give its effects. But both are great. You can't really go wrong with either. Do you have a preference one way or the other, Lukasz or Shane?
I mean, I've always thought that those the branded ones were the way to go because they just, not necessarily because if they're different from other ones, but again because of the claims.
Yeah.
And I know that's like there are a lot of other ingredients out there that are kind of the same, where they kind of bring that the benefit of the claims, and obviously brands do gain from that.
Yeah, it's like carnosine versus regular beta alanine, or Creapure versus creatine monohydrate, or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you kind of get that extra security blanket and the research and all the other benefits that come with it. on the brand side, on the consumer side, it's obviously like it's. I mean, I think it's kind of become what brands do most of the time these days with the they go with those branded ingredients.
Yeah.
Because again, you get to put the clams on the bottle and they get to have the logo on the front. What?
Daddy, look. Look, Daddy.
Yeah, it fits. Cool. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, for me, like, I don't know, it's pre-workout ingredients. Fucking hell. It's yeah. It's not like like those pre-workout ingredients. I'm not buying a pre-workout for one specific ingredient.
Yeah.
Like if it was like arachidonic acid or like testosterone, you'd go hunting for a product with that. Whereas pre-workouts, you generally just kind of get like whether you're okay with the combination they have. It's not like you're gonna change your mind because this one has this branded version and this one doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
You're likely to just take the whole pre-workout formula into account rather than just any one ingredient usually.
Yeah. Lukasz?
I'm all about like CDP as you. But yeah, as far as like what Shane said, I fully agree.
What's the largest dose of choline you've ever taken? I guess spread across the day or at one time.
The cost is like seriously all over the place right now.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Alpha GPC, you're saying, Robbie?
Between CDP choline and alpha GPC?
Yeah, or you just said the cost is all over the place right now. So I was saying, like, what do you refer?
I mean, pretty much like right now. I know that I got an email from one of the manufacturers recently, and you know how they give you a quote on a certain product, and typically, you know, once you agree on a quote and you have a deal, they kind of like move on with the production, etc., etc. Right now, even though they quote you a certain number, that number while in production can change. So I don't remember, like, I think they can only commit to only 4 weeks. So it's pretty fucked up. I mean, the situation, I mean, I got that only from one company, so I cannot, vouch for anything else. But one of the companies, and then when I asked another manufacturer, he goes, I can see the point. We're going to try to honor what we give you as a quote. But when prices keep rising, sometimes on a daily basis for certain ingredients, it's becoming a huge issue. I mean, right now, I know that for a fact, not all ingredients, but most, and especially, of course, something like citrulline and what else? And I think, creatine, obviously. Creatine is probably the leader. Creatine is just insane.
Yeah, it's gone up, 1,000% in?
Oh, yeah, possibly. I know that not last year, now it's a little bit more than a year. Initially, the price for creatine monohydrate, the Chinese, I mean, still good quality and all, was in $3 and change, like maybe $3.50, let's say. And then it went to as high as 7, 8, 9, 15, I believe 20 now, maybe even more. I mean, the price is absolutely insane. And that's the reason why we hesitate to sell right now wholesale, because it makes absolutely no sense. And not only that, like, for example, Pure is not available, as far as I know, until the year 2023, which makes it a fucking pain in the ass. So obviously, you know, if you have a source who's going to provide it for you, you kind of want to sit it on it and just sell direct, since you're not making much money if you sell wholesale. So it's a mess. It's all over the place right now. And I think that this is going to be the case probably for at least a year, maybe more. And even if the prices are going down, I was already told, you know, like, for example, price of whey protein, it went up considerably, and they do expect, or at least hope, that it's going to drop, but it's not going to drop to what it used to be initially. So
That's what I say. You were just meeting with, I'm not going to say the specific manufacturer, but you were just meeting with them the other day. Can you give us, I guess, an update on what rough ballpark prices we're looking at for certain ingredients?
The ingredients, we didn't actually like go in terms of, you know, prices of ingredients, but I can tell you, for example, the price of a current assassin even though I probably should not disclose the actual price, but I can tell you this. The same formula that we released Assassin, I believe, beginning of 2021, the current formula, the price is up roughly $5, which, it's astronomical for the same formula. It's exactly the same formula. The formula did not change. For example, something like Isolate 2 pounds used to be roughly, for 2 pounds, you would pay roughly about $11, $12, $13. Right now, you will be very lucky to get it for $20. So, and all that happened within a year. Creatine, I already told you, that's an absolute insanity. And you basically take it anyway because you don't have a choice. There is a serious demand for it. I know that there is a shortage right now. They promised that it's going to be back in January, which is this month, but I think there's still delay with Albion. So Albion ingredients have been pretty much MIA, and Albion had a strong presence in resistance. So we are actually we're running out of resistance, and we had a very good amount because it's such a popular product. But we are running out and probably going to be sold out within a week or so. And then we hope that we're going to get it soon. But again, I'm pretty sure we're going to be out of stock for at least some time. We also wanted to release a multivitamin, which we've been sitting on a formula now for over a year. But again, some of the trademark ingredients are pretty much not available. So yeah, the industry is absolutely all over the place. And that's the reason, why I'm actually impressed. We only had a hit with delays with 2 products, I believe. No, actually 3 throughout the year due to ingredient shortages. And that is delay with, Lionheart, obviously. We got hit with that. So that was the one that was a major one. And then I also know that we got hit with Chainsaw. We releasing, I think, that the new flavor, which was in the works for the past, year almost. And it's finally coming out, I think, in about 2 weeks because, again, the trademarked ingredients was just simply unavailable. And the same goes for another flavor of Enigma, which was supposed to be released in October. And now it's actually bumped up. I think we'll get releasing it in the next month or 2. And all for the reason of ingredients. So I'm pretty sure, obviously, we're not the only company dealing with it. So you're not only having problem with prices, but you also have issues with availability.
Robbie, how are you standing with the citrulline aspect?
So we have 3 main manufacturers. All 3 are making different pre-workouts for us that contain citrulline. One of them, we unfortunately going to have to stop making products containing citrulline because they go with the market, price, and they didn't stock up on it when the prices started to go up. So as a result, they the ones who are making Hooligan for us right now, the new Hooligan, which also got delayed. We were hoping to release it sooner, and now we actually delayed the release ourselves. We wanted to reorder Hooligan immediately, but when we got hit with a quote, it was just ridiculously expensive, mainly because of citrulline. So we're switching to the other company they were good. So they bought so much citrulline, shitload of it, that it's going to last them probably for the next year or 2. And the price is a little bit, more reasonable, still more expensive than it used to be because citrulline used to be under $10 and now it's double the price easily. So, that affects your cost, especially, again, when you have a product like Apollon does, like Morphogen does, like Performix does, then you get hit with it and, you just don't have a choice. But it's a problem. It's definitely a problem.
Yeah, that's why I asked. You probably know why.
Yeah. It's a big problem. But thankfully, we're releasing a the product that I'm probably the most excited of. We finally releasing it in 2 weeks, and that one does contain citrulline. And thankfully, considering that we have 4 products, maybe 5 that have citrulline, we don't have issues with releasing it and making it. But just figuring out who's going to make it just because of the cost.
Yeah. My last question is, were you like, I would say surprised that Resistance would be selling that good?
Uh, I
Were you
was I
expecting that?
was very surprised for few reasons. Reason number one, and I discussed this with Shane, I believe, prior to the release of Resistance. Resistance was released January 1st, 2021, and we talked about it in 2020. And at the end of 2020, when I talked to Shane, and we talked about the formula because it was the whole fucking year in the making. Um, I thought that people will not be, paying much attention to it just because number one, it's coming from Apollon. That was the first product that was kind of different from everything else that we do.
Right
So
time.
yeah, and white container, health supplement, first health supplement from a hardcore company, an expensive product because that fucking shit is loaded. So I didn't know how people are gonna react. So we got a very, very small batch, tiny batch. I think it was maybe we had like 500 units. And when that fucking thing disappeared within, I don't know, a month or so, we were lucky to reorder thousands of units and kind of like lasted us for a while. And it was very good selling, but I was very surprised. I think at one point, a couple of months ago, the top three selling products for Apollon were caramel macchiato protein, resistance, and hooligan. And other than hooligan, the other two surprised the shit out of me.
I just got a text from Aaron at Performax. He was said citrulline was $9 and now it's $25 a kilo. He says creatine. You're lucky to get it as low as $30 a kilo.
Yeah.
He's obviously tuning and listening to us.
Yeah.
Shout out to Aaron for listening to our
thank you for
podcast.
listening.
Yeah, shout out to Aaron.
Thank you for
Shout out,
Aaron.
shout out to Aaron.
I
We
know
appreciate
that
that.
Aaron is an extremely important and busy man, and he has a lot on his plate, especially on a Saturday. So, thank you, Aaron.
Yes.
Aaron,
The price scoops. The price scoop.
we
appreciate
we
it.
love you. We love you, and it's unpaid love.
Anybody else got any comments, questions, smart-ass remarks for our panel? Get them in.
We just squeezed in a lot right there, so that's okay.
We did. Shane, what color dolly is that you're playing with there, Shane?
Fuck's sake, she just like it pisses me off because she's like, put the pants on. I'm like, bro, you can put the pants on. Put the shirt on. I know you can put the shirt on, man.
Bro, it's your
Ava,
daughter. Just
put your shirt on.
chill.
Can you, look, I took the pants off. Here you go.
Question for Robbie. Does Body Shock sell bare knuckle, or will they sell bare knuckle and Molotov coming up?
That's not a question for me. Lukasz?
It's not a question for me. Yeah, probably.
Like that.
Yeah.
Luka will probably pick them up as soon as they will be available. Yeah, Luka will pick them up.
Sorry for the smart-ass remark. But honestly, Luka, the guy behind Body Shock, is a very good friend with Lukasz, and that's how the introduction happened. So far, we've been dealing with them for a couple of months, and I'll say this, it's probably, I don't deal with them, the boss deals with them. She deals with Luka and Lukasz, so I kind of just observe. But from what I understand, the relationship is unbelievable, and Luka really wants pretty much to carry, I think, the whole line. I think he probably has almost everything, because I know that we just released a bunch of products in December, and I believe the shipment has gone to him a couple of days ago, and I saw, roughly, and I saw Black Tulip was in there, and I think Bloody Hell was in there, so the new products were definitely there. I think, actually, we received Bare Knuckle before we released it officially, and Body Shock was the first one to basically get the order. They're just not going to have it because, the shipment and everything else. But it was part of the order, so they definitely got the Bare Knuckle. That I do remember. Molotov, I'm not sure, to be honest, because that was released just a couple of days ago. So I don't know if it's in the shipment, but I would assume that we already had it in stock. And if we did, I'm pretty sure they either will have it or will have it shortly.
Quick one, if you guys will be picking up some products from Body Shock side, in the comments to your order, just mention the podcast, and you will get some like sweet ass fat discount. So yeah, I already like mentioned to Luca, that I'm gonna probably be sharing the info about the podcast and so on, and so the people that are interested in Apollon and the products that can order it through him. So if someone will be interested in like buying a bigger stock or something, just like mention that you're from Lukasz, or just like mention the Final Scoop podcast. So yeah.
There you go. Shane. Yeah, but dads do it better. That's why you need to do the pants.
Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, okay, that's cute. And then like 5 times later, put the shirt back on. Take the shirt back off. Put the shirt back on. I'm like, bro, make up your mind. Listen to it.
Mitch, just re-up on 50/50. What flavor did you go with, Mitch? That's the important question.
Mitch is a troublemaker.
Alex, Robbie, how's the feedback on egg protein?
That probably was one of the biggest surprises of 2021. I think it beat the sales of Isolate.
Oh.
Yeah, that surprised the shit out of me. I mean, we currently actually, I asked also Robert to help us out with his input. We're working on a third, possibly even fourth flavor of this phenomenon that we did not expect. But yeah, mostly it was just something to kind of like deliver the final blow for 2021 and release it for Christmas. And that was more or less the idea of, we didn't say it out loud, but the intention was that it's limited release. So I think that, it's probably here to stay.
Here we go. Any chances of doing a 5-pound tub with that, or are you going to stick with the 2-pound tubs?
For now, probably 2 pounds. Shit is expensive as fuck. More expensive than Isolate.
Yeah. Are you getting any requests to do 5-pound tubs with the other flavors? Or for 50/50 or anything?
All the time. All the time. But like I said, number one, space. Number two, cost. It's cheaper than to make 2 pounds overall, but still, it's a lot.
Yeah. What about you guys? Do you guys like the bigger tubs of protein? Like, do you want a 5-pound tub of protein, or do you want a 2-pound tub of protein?
You don't even need to ask this stupid shit. Me and Luke, I already know what Lukasz is going to say. I'm buying 8 pounds, man. I'll buy a 15-pound. That French brand makes a 50-pound. I'd buy that too.
True Nutrition does giant orders like that, don't they?
Bags. You should invest in bags.
We don't deal in these quarter-filled 2-pound tubs, okay? We 10 pounds, 5 pounds maybe. You're spoiled with being able to get like a 2-pound and being like, oh, I'll try this flavor. I'll do this flavor. It's like, look, motherfucker, I'm trying to save some money and get some chocolate protein.
Hell yeah.
That's just it. That's just it.
I think that too. We already had these conversations like back in the days on the podcast. And I remember you asked us the same question, and me and Shay were like laughing. Because like we're all about that wholesale.
Yeah, the 5
Mitch,
and 10
I buy a
pounds
20-pound bag of 50/50.
Yeah, man.
Well, yeah, and I understand it's more cost effective, and for people that know what flavors they want to get, do you think maybe the reason we don't? And I know we've discussed this before on the podcast. I'm trying to come at it from a different angle, maybe. What's the reticence for brands to not offer 5-pound tubs more frequently, or make that the default option instead of the 2-pound tub? Or is that a byproduct of the old brick and mortar model where you can fit more tubs of different flavors and more offerings with 2-pound tubs versus 4 or 5-pound tubs, or like the 10-pound bags that you can get at Costco or Sam's or something? Is it lack of like, do they want to just have more flavors and less? And so more flavors, and then you just have to go buy smaller packages so you can fit more on the shelf. Or is that just a U.S. thing, and y'all get 5, 10, 20-pound bags in
yeah, man. I think it's more popular in U.S. than Europe. In Europe, like here, people like don't care that much, about the flavor variety, and they try to buy, more protein for less price. So, for example, some brands are just releasing like, let's say, 3 bags, which is like chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla, basically, and you will have like, let's say, 10 or 20 even LBS bags.
Yeah.
So you can like, for many times I did exactly the same thing. I was buying like a bag, 10 or 15 LBS of vanilla, and I was basically making my own flavor. Sometimes I was like mixing with cinnamon, so I had this vanilla cinnamon. Sometimes I mixed it with cocoa, so I had like cocoa vanilla flavor, and so on. So you have this options. But as far as like to LBS, like I said, it's more like a US thing than European. But maybe Shane will give his input.
I think Shane
is muted.
losing a wrestling match at the moment.
Yeah, Shane is muted.
Mitch got chocolate and vanilla. My local store didn't have the isolate or egg yet.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what, Robert? I think it's like, as far as like the 2 LBS, I can understand that people want variety, and they don't want like investing in like big bag, which is like, let's say, 10 or 15 pounds in just like one flavor. Because if you're gonna buy, for example, like, let's say, cookies and cream, right?
Yeah.
So after like 5 pounds, you would say, oh, fuck me, cookies and cream again. It's like, nah. That's why, in my opinion, if you're investing in like bigger bag, I would go with like more simpler flavor, and you can always enhance it. And now nowadays you also have this flavor enhancers. They're really popular, especially in the functional foods industry. So you can they are in like liquid or like powder form. So you can mix up with your protein, so you have the different kinds of flavors, which is also really good and convenient.
My guess, and I'm not a market specialist or anything. I don't have any kind of insight. But my guess is, back in the day, you had the 2 and 5. Like, every brand always released 2 and 5. Some released with just a 5. Some released with just a 2. Now everyone just does a 2. My guess is, and back in the day it was, okay, we're going to release a 2, but it's going to be an isolate. We're going to release a 2, and it's going to be infused with velocitol or something like that. So you'd give people something to like justify that higher price tag, because that not as cost effective price tag. And I assume the brands would make better money on a £2, or it would be more convenient for them to sell a £2 than a £5 of a high price protein. Then you had people doing unique flavors. And I think the same argument came out. People would make these flavors for £2, not 5s, and they'd be like, well, buy our 2s. And then I think they started just making bigger variety of the 2s, and that just seemed to flood the market with unique £2 and great flavored £2, to the point where people were like, well, it's not too much of a difference, and on this way I get a whole bunch of flavors to choose from, and I can change from protein to protein without, and it's not as, I mean, it's still not as cost effective as a 5, but it's not that different now. Whereas like in Europe and even Australia and a lot of other markets, I imagine it's like people aren't going to ship a container of £2. So they might, but probably more likely to do a 5 or a 10, because I mean, they're shipping it on weight. It's not like if they ship the unicorn flavor, it's going to cost them less. They're buying these, packing as much as they can, and that value, I think, or that cost effectiveness is then amplified on the international market. So instead of being close in the US, it's even bigger at international. And I think that for me, it's still like no argument that I would buy a 5 or a 10 over a 2. It's not even like maybe it's a 5 or a 10. And I just don't really mind too much about the flavor.
Yeah.
But even in Europe, my protein has like 50 or 60 something fucking flavors. And they do it in the £5. So you can get that. Whereas I think in the US, people have just all gone £2, and now that's just the normal way to go.
Are their flavors any good? I've only tried a couple of my protein stuff, and this was maybe 3 years ago now,
that's
4
like
years
an
ago.
example. You could go Olymp, you could go Cytic, you could go. They all have a shit ton of flavors.
Yeah,
Plus
are they any
nutrition.
good? Like My Protein's flavors, I've tried a couple of them, and I just remember them being kind of just on the weaker
think
side of stuff. They're not
All of
like
the
super
European
potent.
flavors are a little bit like light,
Okay.
but then they always say that the American flavors are sweet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's probably great for their market. And again, to be honest, if I'm looking for 10 pounds of protein, I mean, so long as it's a brand that I haven't heard anything super sketchy about, you know.
Cytec also got buckets, which is
Yes,
like,
I did got buckets.
I love that old school vibe.
NutriMuscle, man, those guys have a 50-pound bag, which is
Yeah, man.
ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
I think that, you know what,
I'll
I
buy
mean, going back to what Shane said about like variety, because you do have like a lot of different fucking flavors right now, and they all over the place. But I think on one hand, but that's the reason why I'm not going to justify either one, you know, way of doing it, because people like variety, and I totally understand that. You know, that's fine. And I think that when you have like 10 different ones, and maybe you like out of 10, 6, the 2 pounds are very, very low risk because, you know, it's not a lot. You know, but if you're getting like 1 in 5 or 10 pounds, obviously you have to pay a little bit more, and you might be stuck. I mean, this is the theory that we kind of like are using right now. We do have the 5-pounders in chocolate and vanilla. So our chocolate and vanilla in 50/50 are extremely popular. You know, I just saw Mitch posting that he would get 20 pounds, you know, in chocolate and vanilla. But the thing is that and I said it many months ago where I said, no matter what flavor you release, you will always have a person that either likes chocolate or likes vanilla. You're going to have always chocolate and vanilla person. Those two are number one. You can fucking have the best, most delicious unicorn fucking Oreo, whatever the fuck you want to call it, protein. The bottom line is those are very, very unique flavors, and they not typically used on a daily basis. No matter what, you always have, well, not always, let's not exaggerate. Let's say 90% of the time, you're going to have a chocolate person and a vanilla person.
Staple.
Staples. To a lesser extent, at least in America, you're going to have peanut butter, to a lesser extent, but pretty close. But chocolate and vanilla are your staple. So if you have chocolate, a good chocolate, a popular chocolate, and a popular vanilla, then by all means, you can make 5 pounds, and you should be making 5 pounds. I can tell you this, that 5 pounds, it's not like you're going to pay, if the isolate right now is $20, I can tell you that because I know. Don't think that 5 pounds will cost you $50. That's not the case. It's not going to cost you $50. It's going to cost you substantially less. So when you compare the 5 pounds to 20 pounds to 2 pounds, the 5 pounds, believe it or not, is actually cheaper to manufacture than the 2 pounds. So your profit margins more than likely going to be as good or even better than 2 pounds. So you're not really risking that much. It's more about logistics because they take up a lot of space. And if you want to get like, you know, a good price, you're going to need to order at least 1,000 or 2,000 containers, which is a lot. But because our chocolate and vanilla are so popular and a lot of people have decent chocolate and vanilla, then 5 pounds in popular flavors, I think definitely justified. Like I know our peanut butter cookie is very, very popular, and that's like one of the most popular questions. When will you have 5 pounds? So we were definitely considering it. Now with 5 pounds, we were going back and forth. Should we discontinue and be like other brands having only 2 pound containers, or should we stay with 5 pounds? And I think, you know, what Shane said right now and what Carolina said last night, actually, it makes me inclined to believe that we should not discontinue the 5 pound chocolate and vanilla. A, they sell great. B, they in demand, they popular. And C is what Shane said, that a lot of companies are kind of going away from 5 pounds. So why should we be like everybody else? You know, probably should just stay and do what we do. So, you know, I'm actually inclined to believe that maybe we should consider finally a 5 pound of, you know, products like peanut butter cookie and perhaps caramel macchiato, because it is a very popular flavor. But if somebody is entering the market or somebody wants to release shitload of flavors and they very kind of like not staples, like Lukasz said, not traditional, then yeah, 2 pounds probably makes sense, because I assure you, if somebody runs out of 2 pound chocolate, because Robert, what is your favorite? For example, Apollon, chocolate or vanilla? You like chocolate?
Chocolate. Yeah, it's not even close.
So
chocolate and caramel macchiato.
Yeah, so let's go with chocolate because it's traditional. So chocolate will last you 2 pounds, will last you what, a month, right?
If that, yeah.
If that. But if you're gonna go with something that is a little bit off because you want to try something different here and there, that probably 2 pounds will last you 2, possibly even 3 months or more. So now, from a business perspective, you're gonna buy from me chocolate on a monthly basis, but you're gonna buy something that is, even if it tastes good, but something sweeter or different, maple syrup or whatever the fuck the flavor is. You're gonna buy from me one container every couple of months, maybe, because you might switch to another non-traditional flavor. So yeah, 2 pounds makes sense in those.
I think 2 pounds for America is just the way to go.
Yeah.
Competition there is like ridiculous anyway. Like in Europe, I think that it's still fierce, but like you probably have it per country. Like Cytec would dominate like Hungary and Olymp and Poland, and like whereas America, you got like a shitload of guys making 5-10 pounds, so it's probably not as competitive to make a 5-10 pound. But I mean, shit, I'd still buy a 10 pound, 20 pound. But if you're in the US, that's just what everyone's doing. So you'd seem odd. I think Ghost is a great example. They haven't had any 2 pound, anything over a 2 pound except the 5 pound that they did for is it Vitamin Shop, I think, or is it 4 pound? Yeah, like, and that was like that's their heaviest serving protein powder as well. So it's like yeah, I mean, I would stick 2 pounds. Don't see why not. They just conditioning consumers to buy a 2 pound over a 5 or a 10.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I go there, I'm still looking for a 5, but that's just me.
Mitch, need some input on a decent protein bar in the U.S. Any recommendations?
Not knowing Mitch, he means quality, high quality. Since I'm no expert on this is for Shane and Lukasz.
Bear Bells.
Oh yeah, Bear Bells is very good actually. I like it
They're
too.
all over the US now.
Yeah, barrels. I like the one bars, like ONE. The one. I mean, I've always liked those.
I like the one bar. I don't.
They're okay. I mean, they're good. Like, what are you looking for? Like, do you want something that's like a candy texture? Do you like the old kind of like tacky, chewy kind?
No, I want
do you want like the Whole Foods tasting of the authentic bar, or the MTS, whatever the hell it's called? What's it called?
Outright bar.
Outright bar. Yeah, I those are okay. I don't like those. Sandy loves them. The authentic bar and the outright bar, I don't like. I like the one up nutrition bars.
The authentic bar is like a great blend of candy and outright. Those little things they throw in there, fuck, that's good.
The one bars are hit and miss, but they got some pretty good flavors. For example, the almond bliss is probably one of my favorites.
It's my favorite, yeah. The Robert Irvine bars aren't too bad.
Yeah, but they are like loaded in fuckload of ingredients. Yeah. But also, like, you can, I think that in US you can also grab carb killers from Grenade.
They're like, I don't know what they're on and off.
Very available.
Yeah, I tried them a couple years back. I thought they were insipid.
They come and go, but they always have like different selections, so the flavors aren't the same.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong here, but I think also, like, obviously time plays a part. And I know Grenade tried to get into the US, or has been in the US for a while, so I think if you got a carb killer that had been on the shelf for like a year or two, they're drastically different to like a fresh.
They got a strong presence in Canada, if I can recall, because I know the
Canada's functional rules must be like way easier because they get all the European shit. I don't understand. Like, I always see they have the Mars over there too.
Pretty much similar laws to us. That's why.
Because US, I know that's why Grenade has trouble because it's not that easy to get in. But Canada must be like, bring them on.
Shane, 2 questions about Bear Bells. Number one, what else that company does, or do they do just bars? And the second one, they do more?
Yeah, man. They
Shakes.
do ice creams.
Oh, they okay.
Shakes.
And
The shake is fucking ridiculous.
Shakes is far.
yeah, what about like the bars? Do they have like only one type, or is it like different types of like in terms of macronutrients? Like, yeah, I mean, like for example, like Redcon has
US.
MRE and like different shit. Do these guys have like different types of bars, and how many fucking flavors do they have?
They do have the types, but they're not like it's very like it's not the US how they do high calorie low. Like all their bars are kind of geared towards like just being great taste, high protein. Like,
But you said they have different types, so what are they
yeah,
subdivided?
but not in the US. So they have like a one that's got a gooey core down the center. They have the new soft protein bar, which is sort of more marshmallow based.
Yeah. The new
They have these
fuckers
different
are delicious.
snacks, but they don't like. They're more focused on like in Europe. Most brands, I don't know of any brand who would come out with a snack that's like, oh, this is like this one, but it's got more carbs. They're all about like we just want high protein, low calorie, but we're going to give it to you with a gooey center. We're going to give it to you with a peanut butter top or whatever. So they change the structure and the build rather than the goal of the snack.
Would you say they concentrate more on taste or quality?
Both.
Both?
I mean, I feel like quality is not really like a driving factor. Like they don't say we test this every day. We put this, and this. We have this ingredient. They're primarily.
But
like,
even when you like open the you know the bar, it looks and really appealing, and smell. Bro, it's just like a great experience in general. So yeah.
their caramel. If you can get a caramel flavor of theirs, like it's as
Of
close
Bear
to the
Bells,
real
you're saying?
thing. Yeah, beer bells.
Caramel
I always
cashew?
just called them barbells, but they do pronounce themselves as beer bells.
Yeah.
Yeah, caramel.
14 grams of sugar alcohols is a lot for a protein bar. I mean, that you have two of those and you're going to be...
man. You forget, we're not giving a shit about what's going on. We just want it to taste good.
Yeah.
You missed the point. And that's the case with like a lot of those bars in like that region. They'll put some collagen in there. And I know,
but
like American consumers don't. They're like, oh, I want just whey or milk. But European, like I've never seen anyone be like, oh no, there's collagen in here. They don't really. They care more about the taste and just getting in that protein than, like I said, like, oh, it needs to be whey isolate or whatever.
Yeah, and at the same time, you don't smash like 3 of them bars in just like one go. It should be just like like a dessert or something. That's basically it, and something that's gonna replace your like sweet tooth. So I
would
think
always do it if I was like out and I was like, oh, I don't want to go get a meal. I don't have anything on me.
Yeah,
there's a carb killer at the store. That's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, exactly the same. I'm exactly the same.
And it's 200 calories for 20 grams of protein.
Yeah, and that's
so
not
I mean,
bad.
2 of them are roughly a meal, maybe a little more on the calorie side, but like, and they're quite filling as well. That protein bar, chewy, always kind of makes you feel like you're eating more than you should. So.
Mm-hmm. Have you all tried the PES bars at all? I have not.
Yeah, I tried them.
Not bad. I had the very first batch. I haven't had any since.
I also had the first batch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not tried any of those.
They must be pretty good if they kept them around.
In build, they reminded me of a Quest bars, but they were like a bit, softer.
Yeah. I wasn't nuts about these. I don't like these kind of crispy kind of bars that much.
Those are like the best Rice Krispie style bar.
I like the O Snap bars. Were good.
I recently tried the Rule one, crispy Rice Krispies. Really damn good. And I tried like 2 flavors, vanilla and the chocolate. Pretty damn good. I was really surprised.
Well, Robert, I'll tell you, BSN came out with one. I think, do they have a vanilla flavor there?
This is birthday. I'm sure they've got some other flavors.
They have a vanilla marshmallow, and O Snap launched with a vanilla marshmallow.
I do like the vanilla. The O Snap ones were good.
O Snap are good, yeah.
I'll tell you a story right after this.
Uh-oh. Well, I mean, I had the dude from OSnap on the podcast, I don't know, a year and a half ago, and a while back. But yeah, all right, I'm curious to see what you got to say.
Oh, maybe he didn't talk to you.
You what?
No, nothing. Yeah. See,
Okay.
vanilla and marshmallow. Yeah.
I like how it starts. I will tell you a story.
Yeah, vanilla marshmallow.
Yeah. And Snap's first one was vanilla marshmallow.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Together.
Interesting.
Interesting. While I've got the screen shared, this is something we get a lot of questions about N-acetylcysteine, and so this just came across the newswire within the last day or so from Nutri-Ingredients USA.
Yeah.
The NPA chief gave an update on what they did. So it says, while we remain concerned about the NFDA's inaction in several areas, we're equally worried about the agency's overreach on dietary ingredients such as N-acetylcysteine. NPA filed a lawsuit in December of last year challenging FDA's wrongful application of the exclusionary clause of DSHEA regarding the dietary supplement NAC. NPA is asking the industry and industry trade groups to join our lawsuit and present a united front against the dangerous precedent FDA's unlawful actions have set. We firmly believe that this is not just an NPA issue, but one that impacts the entire industry. We look forward to working with the industry as we await the outcome of our lawsuit, and we will continue to review all possible legal options.
Hell yeah.
Good. Take it to the man. Let's keep our N-acetylcysteine.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I need that 2 grams in my life.
You take 2 grams of NAC a day?
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, I take between 1,200 and 1,800. So yeah, I guess I'm bumping right up there with you.
Yeah, so we are basically on the same page.
Hi, G. Did Gerhard jump in here? Gerhard, if you posted a comment, nothing's coming through on my end, man. Feel free to come in. That's housekeeping for everybody else. If your comment's not getting through, feel free to post it up again. Bear Bells, it is. There you go. I enjoyed the USN bar. More of a treat. Pretty yummy. I tried one of those a couple years
Trust
back.
bars. Trust bars.
Oh, the trust bar. I had the cookie one.
Also very good.
Justin, here's a good question. Since pre-workouts are so popular, why are no companies making 50 to 100 serving tubs of pre-workout?
It's the whole 2-pound conversation again, isn't it?
To a certain extent, yeah.
You're gonna make
I think that's
That's a question for Robbie.
yeah, just you have people are jumping from pre-workout to pre-workout pretty much on a monthly basis. I would say, there are so many of them. Yeah, you have your certain group that basically, maybe diehard hooligan fans or diehard C4 fans who are repeat buyers. But more than anything, oh, my friend told me that this pre-workout is a kick-ass. So they're switching around all the time. And I mean, the cost of maybe a lower cost pre-workout, like maybe perhaps C4 and its loyal followers, maybe that's the way. I'm not saying that's the way to go, but maybe a possibility. But, doing something with a high cost, something like Morphogen does, like we do, like Performix does, so Inspired, I just don't think that it's cost effective, and I think it's going to be too expensive for the companies, and I think it's going to be just not saying profitable, but I don't think it's going to pay off in the long run, because then you're going to have to release at least 2 or 3 minimum different flavors, and it's becoming a mess.
Yeah. CJ25895. Thoughts on Norvaline with a study on its extremely negative side effects, but the study saying it's a bogus study. So for the listeners that have no clue what in the hell that CJ's talking about, Norvaline is a derivative of the branched-chain amino acid valine, typically used in pre-workouts because it can inhibit the activities of arginase, which is the enzyme that metabolizes arginine, which is the main substrate fuel that fuels the citrulline-arginine nitric oxide pathway in the body. So by supplementing with Norvaline, you're kind of doing the same thing that you do with huperzine, and that you're prolonging the activities of that amino acid, so which should, in theory, lead to longer, stronger elevations in nitric oxide, better, stronger muscle pumps, longer lasting pumps, fullness, better nutrient blood flow, oxygenation, ATP generation, all that other good stuff. There was a study that came out, I think late 2018, early 2019, showing that when they put some L-Norvaline on these neurons, it made the neurons shit the bed and it was toxic to them and all of that stuff. People then extrapolated this to that Norvaline is toxic to the brain. You're going to cause all kinds of damage to your brain health and all of that stuff. Dose makes the poison. We got to remember that. Plus, you're not going to be, when you take a supplement orally, you're not shooting it straight into your brainstem and killing your neurons with pure L-Norvaline. You're taking it's going to get digested, metabolized, all that good stuff. It's going to go through the liver, then get into circulation. The question is Norvaline even that effective of a nitric oxide ingredient? I'm of the opinion, not really. It's okay. There's better options out there, better pump ingredients, in my opinion. So I don't say it's a bogus study. You got to understand where it's coming from, the methodology used, the application of the study, and expound on its findings from there. So kind of understand what they were doing in the study and how that translates to you in the real world. Just same thing like when you see these studies that people that are diabetics or have cardiovascular disease have elevated levels of branched chain amino acids in the bloodstream. Does that mean that BCAAs are giving you cancer or diabetes? No. There's dysregulation or there's dysmetabolism going on because if you're a sick and unhealthy individual that is not properly able to utilize those amino acids. What are your guys' thoughts on Norvaline?
No, all I remember is that maybe 3 to 5 years ago, it was used pretty much just like S7 in pretty much most pre-workouts. I was never really impressed with it, to be honest. I feel like lately it's been barely used. I mean, I think it kind of faded away. When something fades away, regardless of studies or anything like that, there is a reason for it. It's an expensive, not cheap, but inexpensive, relatively ingredient. And when it fades away, which I feel S7, even though it's cheap shit, it will fade away too. Why do things fade away? Because people lose trust in those ingredients and because they don't believe in them. So again, this has nothing to do with science and proof and studies, just with, kind of a case of labels are just labels, like TJ says, and people just kind of like turned away from it. But to prove that my theory is correct is, again, we have in the last couple of years a couple of pump ingredients that came into a scene. You have Self-Load, the most recent one. You obviously have S7, which is fairly recent one. You have a couple of them. Of course, Bruce Neller's ingredient also that came on the scene this past year. So you have a few of them. So you would think, okay, so newer is better, but not necessarily so, because if you take, for example, the good old citrulline, it's still a staple, and it will remain a staple for a long time. In fact, our industry experts recently criticized that companies are using citrulline. Well, the reason why they're using citrulline is because it fucking works. It's proven. It's a safe bet that you're going to get results from it, that you're going to get exactly what you want to get from it. So that's going to stay. We can take, for example, nitrates. Nitrates been around for a while. Why are they still used, even though they're not really cheap? They are used because they're proven to work. That's the bottom line. So why is Norvaline pretty much faded away? Because the consumer lost its trust, because it's not a very popular ingredient, because it just doesn't deliver what it promised to deliver. And, test of time is a great indication if something is good or not. And that's the reason why old movies still more popular than the newer ones. That's just the way it is. And this is not a science explanation. This is pretty much, concrete facts.
Yeah.
Who said citrulline is shit? Like, who said it's been used too much?
No. It wasn't. It's not. It was not said. I don't give a fuck, so I'll say it. There was, I guess, an award by industry leaders, Price Plow, where they said, that a certain company is very innovative and they create new products, and they're a little bit edgy and more creative, and they do things slightly different, which is true. I can say it. It's Glaxon, and I can definitely agree with that to an extent. and they said that PricePlow said that not like the other companies who are using citrulline, beta-alanine, and stuff like that. And it
Yeah,
was
I see what he means.
yeah, so it was kind of like Glaxon kissing ass, while other companies like kind of like trying to bring them down. Look, you're all doing the same shit, etc., etc. And by using citrulline, but citrulline is used, like I said, because it fucking works, plain
Yeah,
and
I think
simple.
I probably have to agree with Pricewell on that thing. Not like I don't know if they mean it this way, but whenever I get a supplement, like someone will say, "Oh, I got a groundbreaking pre-workout," I get it maybe every 2 days. I'm gonna do things differently. I'm gonna, really, really give this a go and try and break out in the supplement industry. And I'll be like, okay, send over the information. We'll take a look. And the pre-workout is fucking 6 grams of citrulline, 3 grams of beta-alanine, 350 caffeine, taurine, betaine, 2.5. And I'm just like, it's like I get that those work, but it feels kind of shitty and boring when
Copy
they have
paste.
the like it just copy paste. I think that's probably what Price is meaning. Like it's not that they're bad. It's just that when you see them over and over again, it's like, okay, I get that. Like if you bring out a pre-workout that one other person has, okay, there's two that are similar. But if you go with that citrulline, beta-alanine, beta, you're like one of 1,000, 2,000 right now. It's just there's so many that do the same
You
thing.
know what? I'll agree with what you said, but only to an extent. And the reason for that is because you just said yourself, maybe an hour ago, that you taking the overall pre-workout as a formula.
Yeah.
Whether it works for you or it's not. On paper, on label, certain things might look impressive, but at the end of the day, yes, it is how those ingredients come together. It is like, does the pre-workout deliver what you want? Like for example, Unbound pre-workout doesn't have any pump ingredients, but that was not because they were cheap. I mean, the pre-workout is still expensive, but it was by choice not to have pump ingredients. Just like, clearly Lionheart, which is intended for endurance, is not going to have any pump ingredients either. So you can design the pre-workout as you want. So when you take a pre-workout, regardless of what it has, regardless how much you are impressed or not impressed with a pre-workout, and this is the only part, because I still not fully agree with TJ when it comes to labels or just labels, because I know what I want from my pre-workout. I mean, I know for my needs what I need. And if it's manufactured properly, obviously it will deliver. And that's the reason why we look at certain like Hooligan or Assassin or Rise or, the new Caged, and we are impressed with the formula without even trying it because, it's what's on paper. But then when we try it and, we know whether it works for us or it doesn't work for us. So while I'll agree that a lot of companies using citrulline, number one, again, citrulline in a certain dosage, which we discussed already, a minimum of about 3 grams, up to 10 grams or whatever, it will deliver. And you know exactly what it will deliver, and it will deliver good. The rest of it is a formula. Like you said, again, you're taking it as a formula. You're not taking just a scoop of citrulline, you're taking a formula. And, certain formulas will work better than the other formulas. Now, is it impressive? Not even impressive. Is it respectable? The fact that somebody like, for example, Glaxon will take and do a little bit non-traditional approach. Again, you look at the label, and we're talking just about the label, and you will say, wow, the label looks different. The supplement facts have ingredients, some of us don't even know what they are, but it looks impressive because it's different. So different is always good. Now, at the end of the day, if you take Glaxon, for example, and you take another pre-workout that has a little bit more traditional ingredients, but it's properly dosed, you can do, say, a blind test and see which one will deliver, not on paper, but in performance better. There is a very, very, very good possibility. I'm not claiming so, but there is a very good possibility that actually the traditional one, that you know what you're getting without experimenting, will actually deliver a better performance than the one that is just looks different, so to speak. So I think that innovation should always be applauded. It should be gutsy. It should be, the fact that you're willing to do something that others are not. To me, that's always I respect that. I respect that greatly, and I respect that about Glaxon as well. But at the end of the day, it will come down to performance. So while they were saying that, not like every boring, but it's not really boring if you think about it, because while maybe the first one always, or in most cases, reads citrulline, the only reason why it reads citrulline is because citrulline typically has the highest dosage of anything else, and that's just the way it's listed. But everything below citrulline can come different. The formula will come different. And in fact, it can have 10 grams of citrulline, and you will agree with me on this one, I'm sure. It can still be a shit product. I mean, because other than citrulline, maybe it doesn't have anything else. So, as a formula, it might be shit. But it might have only 4 grams or 5 grams of citrulline. Like, Assassin has only 4. And I remember Inspired used to do a couple of products with only 5. Yet the product was absolutely fucking phenomenal. I think Inspired also takes a bit of a, not risk, but maybe a little bit more. And I don't want to use innovation because it's going to make certain companies, including Apollon, look like we are the shit and everybody else is garbage, because it's not true. The reason why I'm including myself in this list, Morphogen could be included in this list too, is because we don't mind doing something that is a little bit off, but we are taking a risk. We are taking a risk and we're delivering something, but sometimes even using more traditional ingredients that, although proven to work, the product still can be very innovative. Like, I always will take credit, and rightfully so, for putting more caffeine than anyone else, initially at least. Recently I think Ryan from Fitness Informant said that anything more than 3 or 4 or 500 grams of caffeine, in so many words, he basically criticized that. But the question remains, why? You can't criticize something unless it's harmful, and it's not harmful. You can't. It's a personal view. And for example, Lukasz will take 1,000 grams, I'm pretty sure, of a pre-workout without even blinking. Why? Because he likes it.
You need to make it 1,200 capsules.
Yeah, So, and will I be wrong releasing that product? No, I'm not breaking the law. I'm not really using toxic, amounts of it. It's harmful for certain people that shouldn't be taking caffeine at all. For example, yesterday I talked to an athlete, a female athlete, and she said that she does not use any pre-workouts with caffeine because even half a cup of coffee, which is like 30, 40, grams of caffeine or whatever it is, milligrams of caffeine, she says it fucks her up. So somebody like that should not even be taking 100 or 200 milligram of caffeine. So, we all are different. And I think that innovation should definitely be a very, very welcome thing. It should always be there. But it's just sometimes traditional does work. I mean, we've been using the same fucking isolates for God knows how many years. And, somebody recently asked me a question about creatine. And he goes, creatine HCl is far superior than creatine monohydrate. I'm like, I said, says fucking who? And he goes, well, you know what? Jim Stepani said that HCl is a lot better, and he's using that. And I found that arguing is absolutely pointless because that person is so brainwashed without any data or anything, even though creatine monohydrate has the most studies and we all know about it, and it's very, very traditional, nothing innovative about it, and there are a shitload of other forms of creatine that came after, but none of them realistically is superior to creatine monohydrate.
That's why I don't try to be negative about this whole thing, usage of the ingredients and so on, because everyone has his own brain and everyone decides what he can do and so on. That's why our market is so different, because you have on the market like creatine gel and monohydrate, and you also have a pre-workouts with different dosages from 600 up to 800 and so on. So if Ryan from Fitness Informant, wants to play on 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine, and so be it. I'm not I'm not on his level. If that's his preference, and it's not my call, or I'm not gonna judge him for using like lower dosages, and then I will say, oh yeah, I'm a bigger boss because I'm using like 600 to 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. Not man. That's not about that. No one is trying to brag or like be like a big boss, or like it's not like a dick measuring contest. Here it's all about your own preferences and what you like to do, and that's basically it. That's I just don't like when someone is like putting this like this fucking opinion and making it all general, that it's like be like a leader of the industry and saying, don't put 600 milligrams of caffeine to the pre-workout. Fuck that.
I think most pre-workouts are all very different. Like Robic has used the traditional ingredients, but he does it in a different way. Glaxon does it in an even more different way. Ghost does it in their way, and I think I was just talking about the brands that do it in exactly the same way.
Oh yeah, okay, understood.
Like,
yeah, no, it's true.
Brands that'll have like it's not necessarily that they're not going to work, because they will work. But kind of like they've all built on that Outlift pre-gym original. Like they're all kind of gone with that core set of ingredients. And it's not that they're not going to work. It's mostly that we've seen that for the last 5 years. And so with all these different pre-workouts out there, like Apollon, I mean, you have 3 drastically different pre-workouts. Glaxon has 3 different it's encouraged you to want more. And if you see something that you've already seen before, you're going to be less inclined to be like, okay, yeah, it is going to work, but I do know what that's like. And I've been there. And like, even if it is a different manufacturer, different raws, different ingredients, you still get some idea of what it's going to be like. So you're going to be less inclined to go with something that you've probably had 3-4 years ago, as opposed to an Apollon or a Glaxon.
Yeah, plus every brand has its own style, right? And that's why, that's why
market too.
That's why when, for example, Apollon is releasing a product, at some point what you can expect, because you know already what is their level on, or what is their mindset. Same with the Glaxons and same with Ghost and so on. Oh, by the way, speaking of Ghost, congrats on the Decade Brand of the Year. That's an awesome achievement. So Hail Mary, hell yeah, awesome stuff, guys. Props to you, Dan. Awesome job. So great 2021 year, awesome collabs and so on. So brand of the decade goes to Ghost. So yeah, I need to give a massive shout out from me personally. So yeah, I almost forgot. I almost forgot.
I mean, you can't forget, man. You can't forget.
Yeah, we can't forget at all. We can't forget about mentioning Ghost in this podcast. So we truly, have to congratulate Dan and the entire team. So yeah, big shout out.
I have to admit, Lukasz, that your level of sarcasm has become better over the last 2 years.
Bro, I'm just like blown away. So I had to like give the props.
I will say, if anyone asks, I did not get any money for this. If I did, much like I said to Robert, I can show you my car. It's not very nice. I have 2 different back tires to my front tires now because I didn't want to replace all 4. So I don't have it. I'm still poor, by the way.
I'm still poor too. I still live with my mom's, in the basement. So yeah, and as you can see,
you don't even have any roads.
There is no light. The internet connection is fucked, basically. So
you have to turn the lights down to power the router.
Yeah, I need to save money at some point. So yeah.
When the brand of the decade, like the nominations came out and stuff, I was like, I'm not even gonna try to do this. Like I had a rough, maybe, and I don't even want to call it an opinion, just kind of like a rough idea, of 2 or 3 companies that I believed, possibly can take it. And to be honest with you, Ghost was one of them. Like I saw it as a possibility for sure. So no matter what, like I wasn't like really surprised or anything like that. And there are some people who agree with it. There are some people who disagree with it. I will say this though, and you might find my level of sarcasm on this one, but I just have to. So I don't know why I'm saying this, but I mean I'm gonna enjoy it. When Ghost won brand of the decade, I actually sent Dan a text message. It was a sincere text message. Shane knows about it, and I congratulated Dan, and I meant every word I said. That I think that Ghost is definitely one of my favorite companies in terms of when we talk about innovation. When we talk about something that is a little bit out of the box and something that they definitely, you can tell that they work very, very hard, and you can definitely see that they've taken things slightly different than anyone else. Maybe not necessarily, when it comes to ingredients or anything like that. I would still call them very traditional in terms of when it comes to formulations. But when it comes to presentation and impact they had on a market and the industry, I mean, it is impressive. I can't say anything else. So I had to congratulate him, but I did specify that I'm congratulating him on a brand of the decade title that he got from Stacked. It was very important to me because the other so-called titles, not just in my opinion, but in general, I believe are shit. They're worth nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're absolutely meaningless. So regardless, who agrees or disagrees with Ghost winning or not winning, at least that title came from no sponsorship, no money. I know for a fact. And, it was a title that was awarded based on whatever Shane and I guess Nikki believed in, and based on their principles and their views. So to me, that title is actually awarded rightfully, whether I agree or disagree. But the other ones, no.
That's a beautiful gesture.
Yeah, no, he actually wrote me back, and it was a very, very nice text message. He thanked me. He did compliment Apollon. I can't say that it was it was a very friendly exchange, and I really, I congratulated him from the bottom of my heart. Like I said, when it comes to brand of the decade, we can all agree or disagree on so many possibilities. But I know it was awarded rightfully, and I know that it was an actual award, and he won that award. So I felt, as somebody who was always very respectful to me and always very nice, I felt like, if I was in his place, I would like to be congratulated by people within the industry because, when you compete for a certain award, for any award, it's a competition. So
Yeah,
class
why.
and sportsmanship should be present. So even though I wasn't nominated, I felt like it came from a good place. Shane believed that he deserved to win, and I believe that it was my job to congratulate somebody who was always respectful to me, even with all the shit that I talked about. Ben sucking his dick and shit like that live on air. I thought that he deserved to be congratulated. So I congratulated him, and I actually meant it wholeheartedly. And he was very gracious. And it was important for me to make sure that I do not congratulate him on something that I don't believe he won. But that's it.
Yeah, we got this platform. That's why I did this on public,
Yeah.
and I also think that from my perspective, I also want to shout out to Ghost for outstanding year,
Yeah.
2021 and also 2020, because they've won 2 years straight brand of the year via some other sites. but yeah, it was their thought, and their nominees and so on. Everyone has a right for nominations. So yeah, but I just wanted to say, big shout out and congratulations for the brand of the decade. It's something different. If I would be, I need to be always honest and 100% transparent. I didn't have Ghost running for the first place. I had,
which is fine. Which is fine.
I had other brands, just because of other things that I took into consideration when I was like picking the brand of the decade. But it was just like, I talked with Shane, about that, and he provided me his pointers. I provided him mine, and that's basically it. It's at the end it was his decision. I respected that, and yeah, life goes on. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. But at the end, we love this industry. We are like a fanboys. Me and you like love it so much. That's why we do this podcast every week, and we try to like provide people good, solid feedback on this industry. So yeah, once again, summing all up and ending this fucking banter. Shout out to Dan and the boys from Ghost.
Yeah, Sridhar, Shane announced this on Stacked on Monday or Tuesday of this week, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Naughty Boy was International Brand of the Year. Bomba was Functional Brand of the Year. Newcomer was Unbound. Brand of the Decade was Ghost. I had another one.
Functional foods?
Energy drink. Yeah, Bomba was functional. Energy drink
Oh,
was
yeah.
Raise. Brand of the Year is announced tomorrow. Wait. No, 2 days. Tomorrow's Sunday.
Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Subs on deck. Shaun Clarida was recently at Core Nutritional Gym. Do you think that Core will sign him as an athlete, and do you think Core needs an athlete like that?
We were just talking about this.
Yeah, so I was told by somebody actually yesterday who is friendly with the insiders on this, and he said that apparently, again, I don't know if it's true or not, but pretty reliable source, that Core was interested indeed in Shaun for quite some time. It's not my opinion, but I don't know. And apparently, that there is a possibility of that. But again, I have no knowledge because to me it was always said. To me, it was always, Doug Miller was the face of Core. He has the look, he has the knowledge, he has the charisma. I believe he's well spoken. He's very confident. He's also. He's jacked. He's very proud. So it's. I honestly, if Shaun is signed, I won't be surprised because he's visiting them and because he's there. So clearly, it's a high possibility. But if it wasn't the case, I would be very, very surprised because I always thought that Core is Doc is the face of the company and they're doing pretty good. But either way, if that's the case, good luck.
What's the point of inviting a champ if you don't want to do any business?
I don't know if he. I don't know if he was invited or not. I mean, I don't know.
Instagram.
I'm joking. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I'm
On
just
Instagram,
joking.
he said he's like, "Oh, I heard they had a cool gym," and obviously he was on the podcast afterwards. So I'm just wondering if maybe it's just as casual as because Shaun isn't with the brand right now, is he?
No.
Yeah, so I mean, you get this with a lot of guys. Like they start going out doing collabs here and there when they're not signed. So I mean, it might be as natural as him just going to the gym. Does seem fishy. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
5-6 hour drive from New Jersey to go to train at the gym. It's a little weird.
Is that how far away it is?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I was probably, I think I was the first guy that like they sent the message that that Doug posted on our group chat. And I was like,
saw it, but I just didn't think.
honestly, I was pretty excited because I think that Shaun fits the brand very good, and Doc has a pretty good line going on and so on, and there's also like a great team chemistry. So yeah, Plus, you know, I think that Shaun is a great athlete and can be a great ambassador for every brand. So yeah, I wish him all the best. And
I think
if
he needs
this
to
if
find
this will come to a
I think he needs to find a home, Shaun, because he's got that stigma now of just how many brands he's been with, like 4 or 5 in the past
well, yeah,
years.
yeah.
Like
But
I like Evan and Animal, and now Evan did go to Prime for that like
did you
one
hear that
year.
he resigned?
Yeah, he resigned, but like I mean, how long has he been with them? Right?
Yeah.
Like it's just ridiculous. He's their athlete, and
He made a
like
he made just like it was like I believe it was like a 1 or 2 year
yeah,
change.
but kind of like how and he had Steve Cook with Optimum. Obviously, he's not with them anymore. But like you have these guys that stick with these brands, and it doesn't only. I think it strengthens the brand and the athlete because
Yeah,
if you're a guy who believes in a brand for so long, your fans are going to be like even the skeptical ones will be like, oh shit, he probably really does use this. Otherwise, he would have been gone.
yeah,
So
But you know what? I mean, the funny thing is that this is not a coincidence. If you think about it, as far as I know, he signed a 1 year deal. I also know that unofficially Evan Centopani retired from bodybuilding, but the thing
yeah.
is that with he's been with them, if I'm not mistaken, now going on for 14 years, 13 or 14 years. He's been
yeah,
with Animal.
he had that little break though where
Yeah, he
he
had a
kind
little
of
break, but
he had a
if we
side chick for a little
He went to
bit.
Prime, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
but if you take that longevity that
I
he had
remember.
with them, and you know that they stuck with him, and how loyal Animal was to him, and he is to
Yeah.
Animal, well, it's impressive. But it's not a coincidence, I think, because this is not the first time Animal has it. They had it with Vinny Galanti. Vinny Galanti's been with Animal, I believe, for even longer. I believe he's
Frank
been with them
McGrath
for
was with
about,
them for a while as well, wasn't
yeah,
he?
I think like 16 or
Yeah.
17 years. So
That's
that's a
crazy.
very, very long time. But I agree with Shane. I absolutely hate when athletes are jumping from brand to brand. I think it makes, I think it makes them look worse than a brand, though, and
I
I'll
know it's not
explain
really
why.
their fault. Like it's not
It,
necessarily their fault though. Like sometimes they just
it
get
depends.
like
It depends how you look at it. But I know, like for example, Vinny. If you look like I mean, obviously Vinny is from New Jersey. I know him pretty well, and Evan is from Connecticut. So, and I know Universal Animal also pretty well because they did most of their shoots at Apollon, and they like 5 minute drive from us. But you know, the athletes definitely provide the company with a lot of content. Like they really part of the company. They so much more than athletes because if you look at Evan Centopani for the past couple of years, he hasn't really been active. He hasn't really been competitive. He hasn't been doing shit. But in terms of like Animal, he's been doing a lot, like writing articles, releasing a collaboration product with them. I think they have some kind of a product together. I mean,
Yeah,
he's been very, very active with the company. So whether it's because of him or because of the company or both, I think that's very, very impressive. The same thing was with Vinny Galanti. Vinny Galanti was extremely, close with Animal. I mean, they were really, he was like the face of the company, even though he was actually not like a top level athlete ever. You know, I mean, Evan was, but not Vinny, but he's been with them for a while.
don't forget about the Frank McGrath.
Yeah, Fran McGrath barely fucking competed, and he's been with them for like what, 10 years or something. And I think that German guy, what's his name? He's been with them also for a while.
Uh,
The fuck is his name? Very nice physique. Very,
yeah, but
very.
he's not with Animal
He's
anymore.
not with Animal, but he was with them for a couple of good years.
You
Yeah,
talking
he
about
was.
Roman Fritz?
Yeah, Roman.
Yes, yes, yes. Great physique, phenomenal physique. He was shooting at Apollon gym at one point with them, so we got to talk. He was a complete class act. So I think that Animal knows how to utilize the athletes. They're also very good at picking the athletes. I think one of the worst athletes that was with Animal is actually Derek. You know, he wasn't very impactful when it comes to the line, and he was not as involved.
Dunsford.
Yes. I don't think he was very. He was not very good at promoting, because I can't blame Animal for it, since they work great with Evan and Frank and Roman and Vinny. So it can be just the history shows that they know how to utilize the athletes. But
don't forget also about Steffi. Steffi, go on.
yes, yeah, absolutely. And they had that Russian guy, the powerlifter, the huge Andrei Malanichev, I think.
Malanichev is still with them.
Oh, he's still with them? And he's been with them forever. He's been with them also for like at least 5-6 years. Oh, and what's his name? The owner of Steel.
Dan Green?
No. The owner of Steel, Jason. The fuck? Jason Ha, yes. He's been with Animal also for a number of years until he left to start his own business. So, they had athletes. I mean, this is one of those companies that actually, either knew how to pick the athletes, except Derek, or, and they know how to, to utilize them properly, and, even without them competing, because, again, Frank fucking competed once every, 3 years or something, and Evan hasn't competed in a long time due to injuries and whatnot. And Vinny was not competitive either. I mean, not competitive, but he wasn't very, top competitor or anything like that. But they did good.
Yeah, I remember also when Antoine Vaillant was also part of the crew, but he was more universal than Animal. But
yes.
Yeah, but this is when when you have a perfectionist such as Eric Schwartz on board.
True, I agree.
This is where the brand can shine, and he was able to put an amazing team of athletes, and so on. So
yeah,
I never had the chance to go to Arnold Classic, but Shane told me
Eric was on fire.
Yeah.
Eric was on fire. Yeah.
And so on. So yeah, I never had the chance to see it on my own. Just I was at the FIBO just to see their booth, but it wasn't it's not comparable to Cage at all. So.
And I'll tell you what, Eric had a say in selecting athletes, that I'd also know for a fact. And actually, he was the one who, as far as I remember, picked Evan. And then when Evan briefly left, Eric was the one who actually, was responsible for resigning Evan as well. And, I think that it was a great collaboration. I mean, though Evan and Animal, and that just goes to show you that you don't need a Mr. Olympia to represent your brand.
No, hell no.
And somebody who is a not mediocre athlete, I don't want to be disrespectful, but, mediocre, average placing athlete, or somebody who doesn't place well at all, and maybe not even professional, but he just a good representation for the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also wonder, I don't think Core needs Clarida by any means. Could it benefit them?
I agree.
No, not at all, man. Just talking, but at one point, it won't.
Yeah, what Lukasz was saying is that he's a good fit, which I agree wholheartedly.
Probably not. How much product is he going to move, or is he a better fit at Animal though?
Honestly, I'm not saying that Core needs to sign Clarida, because they don't have to sign anyone. The brand is just working on its own perfectly fine, so they don't need anyone. If it will hurt them to sign Clarida, I don't think so. I think if with dog mentality and Timothy, they can do well, with him, and they can do some good projects, and maybe even do a dedicated line for Clarida or something like that. I wouldn't see Clarida with Animal. I think that they already have a decent lineup, and so I don't think that adding another athlete would be a smart choice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if Clarida wants to have a good presence, he should sign with a brand that doesn't have a major athlete in the lineup.
Yeah.
But that's just that's just my call,
Do you think he moves a lot of product? I mean, if he's jumping from one brand to another, that leads me to believe he's not a big cash cow for the brands. He's not pulling in a lot with his codes.
You know what, Robert? It's a very, very good question, and I would be. I always hate saying something that I don't know for a fact, but I don't think so. I don't think Shaun Clarida is a product mover, so to speak, because let's face it, he was with NutraBio. NutraBio is a good brand with good quality products. And would Mark have kept him? Yeah, he would have kept him if he was providing a concrete proven benefit, meaning sales or exposure that elevates NutraBio from point A to point B. Right. And we know that Shaun has because it's pretty much widely known now that Shaun has a very big financial appetite, and he likes to ask for a lot of money, and he's obviously driven more by money than anything else. I'm not saying it as a criticism. I'm saying it just as a pure fact. But, I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter how much money you ask from a brand. If you're providing benefit, meaning, that money comes back to the company and you're increasing sales and whatnot, because at the end of the day, you can call it sponsorship. I call it employment. Why? Because you're employed by the company. Every employee of any company is getting X amount of money for his services, but he is working for the company because he's providing more for the company than he's getting compensated. That's just, the way capitalism works. Mm-hmm. And, unless if I pay you $10,000, you have to bring me those $10,000 just to pay you, but I'm your boss. So it would make sense that you bring me $20,000. So I get as much as you get, but conventional wisdom dictates that I'm your boss, so I should still be making more than you. So now I would expect maybe $20,000 for me and $10,000 for you. So can you bring to me $30,000? If you bring $30,000, then you somewhat justify your salary, and this is unfortunately what most athletes don't see. They like to say, oh, but you have me as an athlete, and I won the Olympia, and I won the Arnold Classic, and I won this. Nobody gives a flying fuck. Just like Lukasz said, there are athletes that didn't win shit, and they're actually bringing more to the companies than athletes that won something. So the reason why Shaun Clarida was gone from NutraBio and didn't renew, even though Mark actually posted a very nice post, and I like that post that he did, nevertheless, Mark very nicely, very politely said that, there was no war, there was no animosity, there was no fight, there was nothing. Shaun asked for X. Mark did not feel like he should be giving him that, and they parted ways. No hard feelings. It's totally understandable. Right. Shaun went to Raw. I didn't like the way Raw handled it. I didn't like the way they treated him. On the other hand, the fact that he was gone just shows that clearly, he was gone before his contract was up. He was gone before the end of even a year. The only reason why he could be gone is if either they had some kind of a fight that could not be resolved, or he was not worth it, whatever compensation they were giving him, so he was gone. Again, we don't know the main reasons. I mean, it's very suspicious that Bumstead comes in and all of a sudden Shaun Clarida loses his job. But again, we don't know the specifics. We don't know ins and outs. But one thing we all can agree on, no company will fire an athlete if the athlete is beneficial to the company. I mean, that's pretty much a given.
Yeah, that's just the way egregious or something, yeah.
Yeah, so that's something, like I said, nobody's fault. Maybe you're unable to deliver what you're asking for. But when, you're 1 year with NutraBio and NutraBio doesn't renew your contract for another year, when you withdraw and Raw doesn't even last with you for a full length of a contract, which I was suspected is at least a year, then going to a third company, you can win 10 Olympia titles, but your credibility and your value, in my opinion, drops. I mean, you could agree with me or maybe not, but that's just my view.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you on all those points. Mitch, before we get to this question, Last call for any other comments or questions, smartass remarks from the peanut gallery that's tuning in and listening, guys. Robbie, with cherry cola and root beer flavors out now, will we see this flavor come to Hooligan at all?
No one's out there.
Well, the new Hooligan has 3 flavors, and it's going to be released in a couple of months. So those are pretty much confirmed. I mean, based on how they're going to do and what we will see, I'm not ruling out of the question. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a 4th, maybe a 5th flavor as well. And, we'll see how the receptions are to this particular. Cherry Cola is a collaboration with Nutri Cartel with Jake. So you probably have to ask him. He's going to know, he's going to have a better idea. Root beer kind of surprised me because it tastes exactly, I'm not exaggerating, it tastes exactly like root beer. Robert, yours is on the way. Hopefully you'll get it soon.
Awesome.
But I think root beer, cherry cola are one of those, they're those unusual flavors that you're either going to like or you're going to hate. I don't think it's kind of in between.
I'd be curious about the strawberry matcha. Where did that flavor kind of come from? Because I've tried that. I like the sour apple of bare knuckle considerably more, and I've told you this. It's a very interesting flavor. I don't think we've seen a matcha tea flavor, or at least I haven't seen one.
Well, there is a coffee shop not far from my house. It's called California Coffee Company. It's a very, very, very popular spot. So they come up always with very unique flavors. With iced coffee and whatnot. And I saw it actually there and I tried it. And, a couple of my friends tried it as well. Some of them were like, okay, this is different. Nobody hated it. And some, obviously, just like with root beer or cherry cola, they absolutely loved it. So we said, it's something different. Let's give it a shot. The flavor is actually doing pretty decent. Obviously, sour apple is killing it because it's just so popular and it's so good and traditional. But this one is, I don't know if it's going to stay or not. We'll see once it runs its course. But it just wanted to try something different, and that's all. When we tried it, like I said, there were a few people that said, okay, different, not really my thing. And there were some who were like, okay, this is pretty unique and I like it.
There you go. All right. Shane, I was about to ask if that was peanut butter you were swirling up and mixing. I couldn't see what in the world that was. You're muted.
You're muted.
This is my pre-workout.
Oh, what is it?
It's Gorilla Nitric.
Mm-hmm.
The Gorilla Mind Nitric with specimen.
That's a potent combination.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your face is going to be on fire from all that niacin and specimen, too.
I don't think so. I will find out.
Yeah. Is it the yo-yo blend or non-yo-yo blend?
It is the GFY blend.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's the yo-yo one then. Cool. All right, gents. Any closing thoughts before we close out the podcast and send that on its merry way?
Say bye. Show your muscles.
Waiting for the Brand of the Year award title.
Oop. Simon says, under the radar. Saw this the other day, and I think it was hilarious. Blue pill, world peace. Red pill, and Cellucor red pill any day of the week.
I'm a little confused.
Oh, he wants to put it into Cellucor or World Peace, and he chooses into Cellucor.
Oh, thank you for clarifying that. Shane. All right, listeners out there listening, thank you very much. That was awfully redundant. Good Lord. Listeners out there listening. Listeners that tune into the podcast, thank you for giving us your time. If you have any comments, questions, smart-ass remarks for a future episode of the podcast, leave a comment down below. Shoot an email to me, thesupplementengineer@gmail.com, or hit up Robbie, Shane, or Lukasz at their respective points of contact. And if you're looking to save...
Fatty discounts.
Use code FINALSCOOP. Save 15% on all Apollon Nutrition products. And don't forget to subscribe to the Stack 3D podcast, available on iTunes and all other major podcast platforms. And subscribe to the Stack 3D newsletter for more fat savings and the latest.
Yeah. And give a like and share for Ava.
There it is.
There we
Yes,
go.
sir.
Bye, Ava.
All right. Thank you all, and we'll catch you all next time on the Final Scoop.